The gang leader Barbecue has indicated a willingness to overthrow the government. He's managed to get both the prime minister and much of his cabinet to flee into exile, and he's expressed desires to basically establish a new government. Furthermore, during the weekend, we saw videos emerge of Barbecue's gang members basically devouring some of their opponents. Hello out there and welcome to this week's edition of GeoPortfolio. My name is Mikkel Rosenvold. I'm head of geopolitics here at Stena Research, and as you can see, I'm left all alone this week. But not to matter, we have a lot of great stories to cover, so let's just jump right into it. Earlier this week, I released my weekly Great Game article. We covered 3 stories here, 2 of which are relevant to your portfolio. I know that's the premise of this entire show, but we're going to cover a little bit that's maybe less relevant because it's just so entertaining. Or bizarre, I should probably say. And let's start with that. What's going on in Haiti? Are cannibals trying to take over? We get that question a lot from investors, even though it doesn't really matter to their portfolios, to be frank. It seems like a gang led by the gang leader Barbecue is currently controlling much of the streets of the capital and surrounding areas of Haiti. The gang leader Barbecue has indicated a willingness to overthrow the government. He's managed to get both the prime minister and much of his cabinet to flee into exile, and he's expressed desires to basically establish a new government. Furthermore, during the weekend, we saw videos emerge of Barbecue's gang members basically devouring some of their opponents. Bear in mind, this video is a bit old, so it's not like cannibals are eating each other in the streets of Port-au-Prince. And frankly, I don't see it as a realistic scenario that Barbecue is going to be the new dictator of Haiti. Rather, the most realistic or little boring scenario is that some of the exiled politicians like Guy Philippe will get the backing of the US and try and form a transitionary government for Haiti. As said before, I know this is not too relevant for your portfolio, so let's get to some other news. In Ukraine and Russia, things are heating up. Russia's on the offensive and have taken even more land after their win at Avdiivka. At the same time, Ukraine is targeting Russian oil refineries at a heavy rate. They've struck both the Ryazan refinery and refineries in other areas as well. Last week, we also saw President Zelensky visit President Erdogan in Turkey, and that's what I think is very remarkable. Erdogan is clearly positioning himself as a potential peace broker in this conflict, which fits well with his increasing power base both in the Middle East and the Black Sea region. I think it's very likely that Erdogan will be the centerpiece to these negotiations, with, of course, China and US chipping in as well. And I still think it's very likely that we will see some sort of negotiations in 2024. I think both parties are moving towards that point. Perhaps surprising to most, I think Putin will be the hardest one to convince to a peace and truce, especially as things are currently going his way on the battlefield. We'll move on to some other stories that we're covering this week. My great colleague Anne, that you're familiar with from this show, wrote a policy watch that you should really watch if you're into European politics. Basically, Anne describes how the German Schuldenbremse, the brake for public investments, is hindering the German green transition at the moment. Germany is simply investing way less government money into their economy and into the green transition than other countries, and this is really hurting German industrial growth and acceleration. Read much more about this in the first step of our upcoming coverage of European politics ahead of the European elections later this year. Finally, I just want to point out an article that we just released on emerging markets by my great colleague Elias Lisberg. This article basically builds on the assumption that China is re-accelerating. We're seeing a lot of trends pointing in that direction, but how do you trade that? Which countries could benefit from that? We know a lot of investors in the West are wary about investing directly into China, so what to do? Here's Stena Research. We are invested in metals such as copper, and we also invested in South Korea, which is one of the countries with the greatest effect, the greatest beta to China growing, China basically exporting. As you can see here, Taiwan and South Korea, neighboring countries to China, are set to benefit from China reaccelerating, but you could also look at countries such as India and Mexico, and as well Poland. Read much more about this in Elias's great EM piece that was just released today, and make sure to read all our coverage on international affairs, emerging markets, and geopolitics at Stena Research. You can either sign up for our free newsletter, where you receive a weekly rundown of our articles, as well as regular macro nuggets from our analysts. You can also choose to sign up for a free 14-day trial and try out either a basic or a premium coverage of macro, geopolitics, and everything surrounding it. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Mikkel Rosenvold, and we'll be back next week.